What's up, everybody? Welcome. It is Wednesday, 9 p.m. Central Time. So we're starting exactly on time. This 9:07 p.m. Nonsense. By we, I mean me. It is just me tonight. Justin is off. Justin is doing some. He's with family, prepping for the holidays. So it's just gonna be me tonight. Running over some wrestling related topics, as you can imagine. I'm going to cover Full Gear from the weekend, talk about everything going on with Ricky Starks, the Chris Van Fleet interview, CM Punk. I don't know if you've heard of that guy, CM Punk. Uh, and then Raw NXT TV rating, Survivor Series this weekend. And if there's some time, we'll do some Q&A. I'll read the questions in the Q&A channel, but let's get going, people. This is The Experience. I am Drew, and I'm here to talk wrestling, as we usually do. So let's get started. Let's start with last Saturday at AEW Full Gear on November the 23rd. It was from the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey. I did not watch. I didn't watch the first pre-show match because I know there's a pre-show match. I didn't bother with that. Don't care. I did, however, stop to watch the big boom, or what do you call him? The big boom? Big Boom AJ versus QT Marshall. I have no idea who this dude is. I kept hearing his name. I kept seeing his face on my television. I wasn't trying to be a dick. I was just like, who is this guy? I have no idea who these people are. Um, Justin, filled me in like this guy is actually a wrestler, and it's like, okay, let's just call a spade a spade. He got famous on TikTok. Again, there's no shame in that. There really is no shame in that. I don't begrudge people for getting that kind of fame or how they get that fame. I mean, he's kind of like their Logan Paul in a way. He's basically their Logan Paul. Granted, Logan Paul, you can get more longevity out of him. This Big Boom AJ guy, you can treat him as an attraction if they choose to treat him as an attraction. I mean, Tony Khan is just throwing money at everybody except Ricky Starks. But I can imagine he's gonna give this dude a contract. Like this guy, without skipping ahead, he got a bigger reaction out of everybody, or more than anybody on this show, more than for former or current AEW World Champions. He got a bigger reaction than MJF, than Adam Page, than John Moxley, even than Swerve. Like, and I talked to Justin earlier at his shop. Um, he kind of put this whole pay per view in the best way possible, which was, the wrestling wasn't bad, but nobody cares. Like, who cares? Like, who cares about the story? And he's right. He's right. He's very, very right. Like, other than this match, the crowd was dead for a lot of shit, except for, like, I guess for the Bobby Lashley match, they were kind of lively for that, and the Ospreay, which we'll get to in a bit. But Big Boom AJ versus QT Marshall. Um, QT Marshall's lost a lot of weight because I know I used to make the jokes that he was Kevin James. But yeah, he's lost a lot of weight. He's has a lot of muscle on him, so good for him. Kind of looks like Chavo Guerrero in the face. I don't know. Just I saw that and I just saw Chavo Guerrero. Don't know why. Um and yeah, just put in my notes. AJ is at least over, and Tony's gonna make this man a billionaire or a millionaire or maybe even a billionaire. Who knows? And I completely forgot that the Big Show is still in this company. Like that's just how. Uh, that's how little Big Show means to me. He is still in this company. He decided to be friends with the Costco guy and his son Rizzler, who I, I'm not gonna be mean. It's a kid. I'm just gonna stay away from that one. I'm gonna stay away from that. And then you had Big Justice, who I'm gonna assume he's a trained wrestler of some kind because he's in there getting physical with an actual wrestler. But then again, it's AEW, so what do you expect? But this, I mean, the match was what we thought it was going to be. It was a match. It was a wrestling match. It was an attraction. Um, the Big Boom AJ guy, again, he's over. The people love the shit out of him. He just went out there and was kick punch guy. QT Marshall is kick punch guy. And not for nothing, this might have been the best match I've ever seen QT Marshall have. He's going to be the guy that goes out there and, tests, I guess, tests their attractions, their comic attractions, so to speak. But yeah, Big Boom AJ got the win. And again, not to skip ahead, it was the most entertaining spot on the show. And it was the pre-show match, which says a lot about this company. Again, nothing against the dude. Nothing against this AJ guy. I got nothing against him. In some ways, he kind of won me over. I'm just kind of calling it. I'm just kind of calling it like I see it. But anyways, let's move on to the main show. You had a 4-way for the AEW Tag Team Championships. You had Private Party, the champions, versus House of Black, versus the Outrunners, versus the Acclaimed. The Acclaimed, not the Acclaimed, the Outrunners. Never seen them before. I dig them. Like I dig their gimmick. I dig these. Maybe this isn't the right way to put it. These period piece gimmicks, kind of like the Vaudevillains. I love the Vaudevillains. I thought that was great. Um, and the Outrunners, they're supposed to be the '80s guys. Like they're supposed to be the '80s, guys who look like they're in territories. Like I don't know. I think they do a better job at being '80s territory gimmick guys than FTR does. But well, I don't know. Private Party's Private Party. Good for them. They got their titles. Big whoop. House of Black is a team that should have been much better than they. Or not much better because they already are good, but they should have been a bigger deal. But they just stopped caring about them a long time ago. And Aleister Black is just counting on the days whenever that contract runs out so he can go back to WWE. Buddy Matthews is, I don't like to throw accusations out there, but he's on the good steroids. And Brody King is another guy. I'm like, go to WWE. Go to WWE. They're gonna make you a star, please. Like you are good. You're really good. And the Acclaimed, I just don't care. They yeah. It was cute maybe 2 or 3 years ago, but it's really lost its steam. And apparently, the two guys, Anthony Bowens and Max Caster, are feuding. So, the match was fine. It was what it was. It was a spot fest. It probably was the best way to open the show. Um, because it was a tag team match with 4 teams that are entertaining in their own ways. But Private Party got the win, so they retained. Next is we had MJF versus Roderick Strong. Uh, the best way to put this, according to Joe Numbers, because I was in the Wrestling Soup chat room, or I guess the stream chat while we were watching the pay per view. This was basically MJF needed to leave early because I don't know if he's still filming uh what the fuck is the movie called? The Happy Gilmore sequel. I'm guessing he's still filming it, or maybe he's filming another movie. But yeah, he was on early, and just this match just again, the match itself wasn't terrible by any means. It was just who cares? I mean, there's a spot in the match where you hear MJF yelling at Roderick and saying, nobody cares about you. It's like, well, yeah, I hate to shit on Roderick Strong, but no one cares about Roderick Strong. I'm sorry. In 2024, Roderick Strong he's not needed on television. As a coach, as a coach, as an agent, he can offer knowledge to somebody. But as taking a spot from other people that could use it. I mean, again, we're gonna get to Ricky Starks in a bit, but it's like you have Ricky Starks at home, but you have Roderick Strong on TV. You have a lot of people on TV that probably shouldn't be on television over Ricky Starks, over Wardlow, over fucking Jamie Hayter. I don't get that. I I don't get that at all. But he's the Booker of the Year and I'm not. So I don't know. Or he's been a Booker of the Year and we're not apparently. But uh let's see. MJF doing his usual shtick, calling the crowd pores. Next makes another remark about Roderick Strong's parents who allegedly killed each other or whatever. Um, I put remember when MJF actually mattered. I don't know. MJF at this point is just counting his money. He was smart. He played a money mark and he got paid, and now he has to spend the next what like 5 or so ish years just counting his money. No shame in that. I mean, he's not even 30 yet. He's not even old enough to. Well, he is old enough to drink, but he just wants to make his money and then go to WWE. So smart on MJF. But MJF won. Afterwards, the United Kingdom came out after MJF decided. I guess they decided to come out, after MJF broke Roddy's arm. And then there was a fight between Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole. Bleh. So that was that. With that match, let me get this pen out. Then you had the TBS Championship with Mercedes Moné and Chris Statlander. Again, Chris Statlander is just, I'd say go to WWE, but it's like she's always getting hurt. Again, I don't mean to knock on people who get hurt because at the end of the day, this is wrestling, but this girl always seems to have an injury. And Sasha, Mercedes, whatever the fuck her name is, I don't get it. I really don't get it with this girl. She's become my female John Moxley. I don't get it. I could say a look, but like I look at her, I'm like, I don't get the look either. This girl is not good. She is not good in the ring at all. She is sloptastic. That is the best way to describe Mercedes Moné. I'm not the kind of guy who likes to yuck anyone's yum, but I put in my notes, it still baffles me that people love this girl so much. I don't get it at all. She is not good in the ring. She botches constantly, and she has proven that she is a complete asshole. She is not likable. She is more money. She is more trouble than she's worth. So she's perfect in AEW because she's getting paid a lot of money to do whatever the fuck she wants because Tony Khan's not going to tell her shit. Those are the perfect people for Tony Khan, is the ones that he's not going to tell them shit. Bring her over to WWE, they're going to put her in her place. And then I put in my notes, Mercedes is worse than Kelly Kelly. I'm just going to leave it at that. Next is you had Adam Page versus Jay White. A match that probably should have been so much better than it was. It just dragged. I have no idea what went on in this match. Like, Adam Page, for as much shit as I give him, he can at least go. Give him the right guy. When he's not out there doing stabby stapler, I'm gonna staple your titties together with fucking Swerve. And the same with Swerve. When you put him with someone that can work, they could do something. And Jay White, I don't know, this is just a weird feud in general. Like, you had Adam Page, pretty much kill Swerve in that steel cage match. And then he loses to Jay White, who Jay White hasn't even been on television. And then, spoilers, he loses again to Jay White. Granted, I thought Jay White probably should have won. But it's like, how are we supposed to take Adam Page seriously? I mean, granted, how do you take anyone seriously in this company? But yeah, this match dragged. The pacing in this match was just drag. And again, the story of the night The matches weren't particularly awful. It's just no one cared. The crowd was silent. They were more hyped for a 50-something-year-old TikTok wrestler. And I don't mean to discredit the guy, but you know what I mean. But not hyped up for their own quote unquote homegrown stars. But Jay White got the win. And yeah, again, I got to give Joe Numbers credit. Again, just this is what happens when you only wrestle 1 to 2 times a week. Just saying. Next, you had Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher. Ah, man. The crowd loved it. I'll say that they were hyped for this match. The crowd loves Will Ospreay. I said in the past, I like when Will Ospreay can find somebody to work with that can actually work. When you just put him in the ring with another flippy guy, it's just fake cartoon video game wrestling. And that's what this match was. It was fake cartoon video game wrestling. If somebody told you wrestling was fake, show them this match. This is fake. This makes wrestling look fake. It's like, okay, I'm gonna do a tombstone pile driver to you on the fucking steel steps, and then I'm gonna miraculously get up in like 9 seconds. And I'm not gonna sell anything. I'm gonna pretend to sell that my neck hurts, but I'm not really hurt. Wink, wink. Like all that's missing is for Osprey to just stare at the camera and wink, 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 bruv. Um, it's a, yeah. I knew what I was getting for this match. I knew exactly what I was getting, so I can't complain. You know, it's like me trying to go to a basketball game and complain why there's no hockey. Like I knew what I'm getting myself into, so I can't complain. There's people that love this match more than me. Like Justin loved this match, and that's fine. He knew I wasn't going to like the match, and I told him why. But we did again. I'm not going to argue with him about it. I'm not going to. It's right at the end of the day, it's wrestling. Okay, who cares? But you know, I'm just giving my opinion. It's just my opinion. People can like whatever they want. I'm just saying this match was fake. this was this was what makes wrestling look fake. It's video game wrestling, people. But people are into that sort of thing. So who am I to judge? TNT Championship. Or no, let me kind of. There was a segment that happened before this. You had uh, a bit with Mariah May and Mina. I'm blanking on her name. Shirakawa. And they're celebrating, and then Mariah tries to turn on her, and then Mina ducks, and then they fight, and they knock each other off of the stage, and then Mina bleeds, and then Mariah beats her up, and then sucks her face for some reason. And there's that. Um, I don't think I've ever seen two incredibly hot girls not know how to be hot. Like you look at Lola Vice on television, she knows how to be fucking hot. You know, Jada Parker's whole thing isn't sex. But yeah, Lola Vice, she knows how to be hot. Mariah May is hot, but she has no idea how to be hot. You know, Mina, I'm probably saying her name wrong, and I don't have anyone in the chat to correct me, but she's hot, but she has no clue how to be hot. It's just I don't fucking know, people. This is a weird segment. This made no sense, and it had no fucking place on the pay-per-view. But all right, next is the TNT Championship. You had Jack Perry, the champion, versus Daniel Garcia. Daniel Garcia, they did a bit where he is calling his mom, and his mom is giving him advice about something. I don't know what it has to do with this match, but okay. Did, I'm looking at my notes right now because I haven't looked at them since Saturday. I put eh. I didn't care. I didn't care. Really didn't care about this match. Two bland as fuck guys. Um, Jack Perry just is like I don't even want to say he's like Adam Cole sickly, but he's getting there. Like, why are we supposed to buy that this guy's a badass? I don't get it. I mean, I'll give him credit for one thing. He knows how to be a shit heel. He has a punchable face. But eh, him as this like badass tough guy heel, who's buying this? Who's buying this? Is anyone buying this that I know? No. Okay. And Daniel Garcia has the personality of sausage. Like again, good wrestler, but has no affect. I'm assuming he's from Cal. Oh, he's actually not from California. I think he's from Buffalo, New York. But he has that California drawl of, yeah, dude, yeah, man, like cool, man. And I had this argument with RJ. I'm like, WWE's not signing this dude. He is fucking bland. Like Triple H is no longer in charge of bringing in these kind of talents. Like Triple H had this obsession with bringing in bland, pasty white guys. Like he had this fondness for Johnny Gargano that made no sense. And then he had to like kind of put that on the back burner when he got to the main roster. Um, so it's just like, where does Daniel Garcia fit in WWE's current system of like, we want to bring in stars? What's up, Scott? We want to make stars. We want to create guys that actually look like stars, like Braun Breaker, like Trick Williams, like Obafemi, fucking Daniel Garcia. So, anyways, he belongs in AEW. But this match was bleh. I was currently waiting for them to do their "I'm a tough guy" slaps, and it happened. It happened. Um, and man, this pay per view really overused fucking pile drivers. It's like you look on WWE television, there's a storyline about pile drivers. Kevin Owens allegedly breaking, Randy Orton's neck with a pile driver. That move was banned, years ago. On this show, they did the pile driver to death. They use both variations of it, and it's just. But Daniel Garcia won, and he's the new TNT champion. So, yay. Um, After this, I assumed there were two more matches, but then I forgot that there was an extra match, and I went, "Fuck!" There's another match. International Championship: Takeshita versus Ricochet. Again, the match wasn't bad, just no one cared. Not a soul in that audience gave a fuck about this match. And you remember Ricochet saying, "I'm ready to be the guy that carries this company," and yeah, he's just back to being Ricochet in WWE. He's losing. He's doing the job for people. Ricochet, I imagine, is getting paid more in this company than he did in WWE. But and yeah, he's married to Samantha Irving. So, I can't say he's doing terrible, but he's basically back to doing what he did in WWE. Except now he can go out there and do more of his flips. That was what he was mad about, is that he couldn't do less flips. Or he couldn't do all of his flips. Now in AEW he can do all of his flips. And possibly break his neck in the process. But didn't care about this match. Nobody cared about this match. This was 20 minutes. I don't know why it was 20 minutes. Didn't need to be on pay-per-view. Easily could have just been like the main event of Collision or Rampage. Takesha I like, but again, another guy where I'm like, go to WWE, dude. Like, go to WWE. You don't need to be here. You don't want to be here. Just go to WWE. I'm begging you. Save your career. Save your life, man. Next is he had Swerve Strickland versus Bobby Lashley. Um, Again, it's Bobby Lashley. He looks like a star. There's no way he can. I get the impression that the Hurt Syndicate, which I think that's kind of a bleh name. Um, I get the impression that they're in charge of their own shit, as in they're agenting their own matches and their own segments, because they come off as stars. And there's no way you can make Bobby Lashley look less of a star next to fucking I don't know, Kyle Fletcher, for example. or like Shelton Benjamin, who's like damn near 50, trumps over everybody in this company. And then you got MVP in the middle who can talk circles around everybody in this company. But then Swerve Strickland is Swerve. The shine off of Swerve has, I think, really been gone for a while. I think it. I mean, I'll go as far as to say it happened during his title run. Maybe even a little bit before that, because we kept getting these stop start, you know, heel turn, face turn, heel turn, face turn, heel turn, face turn, pushes with Swerve. That I just think it confused the shit out of people. Where it's just like, is he the heel for throwing a shirt in Hangman Page's baby's face, or is Page the heel for burning down his house? I don't get who's the heel. Is Page a heel for drinking his blood? I don't know. With Swerve, it's just, again, I like Swerve. I do like Swerve, but yeah, drinking blood is cool. But for anyone that thinks that Swerve has gotten so much better since he went to AEW, I'll counteract that with, I don't think he's gotten better. I think he's gotten over. And what I mean by that is, I don't think he's gotten worse. I just think he hasn't really changed, because I thought he was much better in WWE. I thought he was much better in NXT, personally. I thought he could have been a much better wrestler if he went to Impact. But, coming to AEW, he's getting paid a lot of money. I mean, he legit said in an interview, Tony Khan pays me a lot of money to do whatever the fuck I want. That's the name of the game in AEW. Get paid a lot of money to do whatever the fuck you want. And again, I can't hate the hustle, but if it affects your work, that's just how it is. But yeah, Swerve just has lost so much steam. He's lost more matches than he's won. And he's somehow the number 2 best wrestler in the world behind Cody Rhodes. So, I don't know. But MJF went out there and murdered him. Or not MJF. Bobby went out there and murdered him, that's how it should have been. Bobby Lashley should not be going out there and having competitive matches with anyone on this roster. Unless it's Bryan Danielson, and Bryan Danielson ain't coming back. Or Kenny Omega, and Kenny Omega seems like he wants nothing to do with this company anymore. I don't know. Bobby should be running through everybody on the show. Shelton, I'll make the case for Shelton. Shelton maybe should be having competitive matches with people because it's Shelton. But yeah, you put Bobby Lashley in front of, like, I don't know, MJF. He should be murdering him. I don't care. He should be murdering MJF in that ring. The best possible case I can make for somebody that looks legit in front of Bobby Lashley is, Wardlow, Hobbs, Samoa Joe, but that's it. What other big guys do you have in this company? That's literally it. So, but and I like that theme, by the way. The crowd seemed to like that theme, though. We hurt people. We hurt people. Now we got our main event: AEW World Championship. Jon Moxley versus Orange Cassidy. Why was this a fucking match on the fucking pay-per-view? Again, November Rain is a great song. It is a great song. Did not match anything that was happening on this pay-per-view. Nothing at all. The only thing it had in common with this show was that it's a November pay-per-view. There was nothing that meant anything on this show to this song. If that was a sentence, I'm sorry, but this match meant nothing. Moxley means nothing. Orange Cassidy means nothing. Can we stop pretending that Orange Cassidy is a good wrestler? He's not. Can we stop pretending that Jon Moxley is a great wrestler? Because he's not. I don't get. I don't. Again, going back to what I said about Mercedes, and I'm going to say it about Moxley. Can we stop pretending that Moxley is a great wrestler? He looks fucking awkward as fuck in the ring. He's out there in his brown pants and his hairy chest and his 2 sizes too small t-shirt. Not to say he's out of shape. He's actually in very good shape, but he's fucking awful. I mean the argument you can at least make is say that I mean he's at least good on the mic, but he's not even good on the mic anymore. He's just out there rambling and doing his "I'm a tough guy" promos while he's at his fucking MMA gym losing sparring matches to you know other guys that work at Costco or Sam's Club. So the shine on Moxley has been off. I don't know why people pretend that he's, great, that he's better than Gunther, that he's better than Seth or Roman. And no, I'll leave Roman out this, but I'm talking about people that can actually work. Um, Orange Cassidy again, his whole personality of like I don't care about anything, and the whole storyline about this was that this is for AEW's soul, and you just see Orange Cassidy go, I'm not a leader. And then he literally the fucking moron literally put out a tweet saying, I never wanted to be a world champion, but I guess tonight I will. It's like, that's your guy fighting for AEW in this pay-per-view. Not Ricky Starks. I put out the idea on Twitter, like, why wouldn't it have made more sense to have Ricky Starks as the guy fighting for AEW since he's a homegrown talent, quote unquote. But you get Orange Cassidy. I mean, I'm assuming that spot's going to be saved for Kenny. That's my guess, is because Kenny is still an EVP. But this match meant nothing. It was bad. You had 140-pound Orange Cassidy. This again. And another thing, he's fucking 40. And I'm usually not an ageist, but like this whole thing about we need to push younger talent, and Orange Cassidy's fucking 40. He's older than John Moxley, and John Moxley looks like he's fucking 50. But this match meant nothing. It was nothing at all. Moxley, of course, got the win. And then afterwards, there was a beatdown and blah, blah, blah. And Christian Cage came out with his envelope, whatever the fuck it was, which I just went, oh yeah, didn't Christian win something where he can get a world title match? And then Adam Page comes out, and Adam Page looked like he just forgot to say what he was supposed to say in the script, where he's like, so I'm a heel? I'm a face? What am I? Um, I don't get why he was out there. And then Jay White comes out and ruins everything. You ruined it. And that was pretty much the end of that. And then you cut to the the Dick Riders or whatever the fuck their name was, leave and go to their truck, and Darby Allin smashes their truck, and then they leave and go into somebody's car, and you just see Darby Allin come out of the car with his skateboard and go, "Come on, let's finish this right fucking now." And that's how you end a pay-per-view. You end a pay-per-view with a car crash. How apropos. Um, so the five tough guys, the heel team is afraid of the small twink with a fucking skateboard. And I like Darby, but really? I know the excuse is going to be, well, they crashed their truck. It's like, but they could have just took him out of the truck and beat his ass. I don't know. I think we all owe Vince Russo an apology after this pay-per-view. We owe Vince Russo an apology. That should probably be the title for tonight's episode, is we owe Vince Russo an apology. That's how bad this shit's getting. We have to apologize to Vince Russo. This was just bad. This whole pay-per-view was bad. BAD bad. And again, the best part of it was a guy who doesn't work for the company. It was a YouTube star on the fucking pre-show. That was the best part of the whole show. Sorry about that. Well, that was Full Gear, people. I don't know what you thought. Tell me what you think in the chat. So let's talk about Ricky Starks. So let me get my notes up for that. Doo-doo-doo. All right. So Ricky Starks. Been out for a while. Not injured. He was on the Chris Van Fleet show yesterday, and I don't know if you guys were able to catch it. Really good episode. Ricky, I've never really seen him in any interviews before. I've obviously seen him on television cutting promos, but I've never actually seen him, I guess, in a more intimate setting where he's just, you know, himself. Um, Again, if you haven't had a chance to watch it, I say watch it. Ricky has this, he has this very dry, sarcastic wit about him that I love. And I mean, he's from New Orleans, but he also got a start here in Texas. You know, he ran through here. He ran through in Texas, and I believe he lives in Austin, Texas, if I'm not mistaken. But a lot of the interview was him just, you can kind of tell in his face that he wants to give the answer that we all want to hear, but he still works for AEW. He still works for Tony Khan. Tony Khan still pays his bills and or signs his paychecks, so he has to, watch his tongue. But the fucking look on his face was just like you already knew what was happening. So I have the I have a transcript right here. So Chris Van Fleet asked him on being absent from AEW. He said, March was my last match. I've been home. I've been healthy. Never was injured. I did have a stinger. I got a stinger in that match against Top Flight in March. I got immediately checked out and everything was fine, but I was just concerned at the time. So that happened, and then I was just at home. That's kind of where I've been at. I've just been home. It's kind of a mind fuck because I'm in my prime, and it sucks when you're on such a momentum, riding the wave, doing work and doing stuff, and then just to be home for so long, you're kind of like, whoa, it kind of throws it off. I am not meant to be at home. I'm not meant to be a homebody in this current phase of my life. I'm not meant to be just chilling at home and doing not the thing that I've been busting my ass to do for the past 13 years. Ah, it just Tony Khan has so many people on his payroll that it just he has enough money to pay for November Rain and other fucking royalty or to get royalties for songs in general. But he has this dude on his roster and doesn't want to fucking use him. And this guy has talent. Like I understand if it was like Kip Sabian, but it's like you have Ricky Starks at home. Um, I don't know what Wardlow's up to. Have you seen Wardlow? Uh, who else? Jamie Hayter. I know Jamie Hayter's not injured, as far as I know. Miro, I don't think he's been released. I know he just went back home. I mean, is he released? Can anyone tell me if Miro got released? As far as you know, um, I don't get that mindset. I seriously don't get that mindset of like we have a guy who can easily be our champion, our world champion. He has all the charisma and the talent that you can possibly ask for out of anyone in the wrestling business. Well, I mean, I don't want to say anyone, but we're keeping him at home because why? Because and again, it's just this company is just run by fucking petulant children who are gonna be, you know, uh, petty as fuck because you're friends with somebody that they don't like. You're friends with somebody that they hurt their feelings. The only person they can't really fuck with is Darby because Darby's more of a homegrown guy in the company, and he's kind of, I guess he has more leverage if that makes sense. Ricky Starks doesn't really have any leverage. Any leverage he did have was with Punk, and now when Punk got fired, people like him, people like FTR, they got fucked with because they were friends with the guy who hurt the EVP's feelings, who hurt Tony's feelings. And unfortunately, that's not going to get you very far in this company. So, to continue, uh, On asked why he's absent, he said, "Beats me. I could have 1,000 theories about what's really going on. The fact of the matter is that if I don't have a definitive answer, I can't just make up an answer for people and just assume. Would I love to know the exact reason? For sure. Do I have speculations about why? Absolutely. But that does not but that does nothing to speak on things that I speculate. Does nothing for the situation. So I think it's just a matter of it sucks. It's been a very cold day here in Austin. It's been a very cold day. May have been cold for the past 9 months, not sure. But thankfully, I have a sweater and I'm always ready to keep the warmth going. So that kind of tells you what you need to know. And he was also asked if he thinks he's being punished. He says, I don't think that's ever crossed my mind or like you're being punished because that wouldn't serve me at all to think like that. I would be depressed and angry. That wouldn't serve me. Again, he's got to toe the company line. He's got to make sure to give politically correct answers because he is still getting paid by Tony. And this is kind of a funny story. So he brought up the situation with Cody Rhodes, where it's well known that him and Cody Rhodes are best friends. And he was he was backstage at the Royal Rumble last year in San Antonio with Cody, and there was security footage of him with Cody, and he had, obviously he had a quote about that where he said, "You know what's so funny about the whole situation? First off, yes, I did go see a friend of mine for his match, obviously because it was an hour away. Secondly, they caught me walking to the bus. So, like, okay, third off, somebody who worked at the Alamo Dome decided to take a video, take that screenshot, and then post it. I remember the next day, Sunday, I woke up and this whole thing was blowing up. I was like, what is this? I had people from my job. I had one guy who was like, were you at the Rumble last night? And I said, yeah, what the fuck about it? He said, just saying that's a bad look. And he's just saying that's a bad look. How is it a bad look? I can't control somebody taking security footage while I'm walking to a bus. I don't control that. Tell me how that is a bad look. We got people on our own programming talking about people in the other company, but me having my security footage exposed is a bad look. Give me a break. It was simply visiting a friend. I was only on the bus. I stayed on the bus. I wasn't trying to cause any type of issues or anything like that. The whole purpose was I was walking to the bus so I wouldn't be seen by anybody. Again, this hypocrisy where at the end of the day, we all know that all these wrestlers are friends. They all hang out with each other. You saw Buddy Matthews at the fucking Hall of Fame with Rhea Ripley because, spoiler alert, they're married. So that wasn't that big of a deal. But they turned this into a big deal. And again, Ricky said he doesn't want to speculate. I don't really want to speculate either, but would you be surprised if that was fucking FTR Dax? Would that shock you in any way if that was him? I know John Draper brought that up, and John Draper calls him Soda Popinski. That just makes me laugh. But Jax very much seems like that kind of guy who has to turn everything into an issue, who's overly emotional, has to turn it into, you're stopping me from feeding my family, god damn it. How is this going to stop me from feeding my family? My baby girl, who was bullied for some reason. Like, it's just, again, Punk brought up the same thing in his interview where he went to Raw to visit people. He wasn't looking to get money. He wasn't looking to sign a deal. He was just visiting a friend. And he apparently heard that someone said he betrayed the company, even though he wasn't even on television. He was just backstage. Right, Starks did nothing wrong. So, but yeah, check out the interview. It's good. And also to kind of go more into the issue with Starks. So, right after that interview, um, Starks was scheduled to do some appearances for GCW. One on December 14th. Yeah, December 14th in Los Angeles. An unannounced match on December 28th in Seattle, and an unannounced match on January 19th in the Hammerstein Ballroom. Those ended up getting pulled almost instantaneously after that interview came out. It seemed like I think it was like literally an hour when that news broke. And the narrative that's being spun is that Effie, made some comments about Shad Khan, basically saying that Brett Lauderdale doesn't have a billionaire dad. And yeah, just that was a stupid thing to say. I mean, it wasn't derogatory or anything, but that didn't make any sense for him to say that. It didn't make a lick of sense for him to really bring that up. But I I 100% am under the impression that Tony didn't like his interview and took him off the shows. I mean, according to sources, he can work with other indies, but not GCW. There you go. But it's just, and Ricky Starks' contract allegedly comes up in either spring or summer. So I I root for this man to get out of this company, go to WWE, go to NXT and be a star. Like I can picture Shawn Michaels building the whole brand around him. He Ricky Starks is just too damn good for that company. I liked him in NWA. I mean, I still liked him whenever he was on television for AEW. But to me, it's just like I see him and it makes me sad, and this makes me even more sad because I'm like, oh no, if you don't have any use for these people, let them go. I don't get why Tony can't just let these people go. You're you're not. It's not even the thing if you're making money in spite of yourself. You're not even making money. You look at NXT, I don't know the exact number. NXT got like what, 22, 23 million from the CW. And you look at AEW and it was like what, 180 million from Warner Brothers Discovery. And it's like who's drawing more? Who's a bigger financial factor? You know? And I'll give you seconds to guess what that is. It's NXT. And it's just you see shit like this where it's just like he has so many people on the roster and he's barely using them. And again, just give these people their releases when they ask for it. Get rid of Ricky, get rid of Alistair, get rid of Jamie Hayter. Let these people go and make money and be stars somewhere. So, but yeah, hashtag free Ricky Starks. That's the one I'm on. Let's talk about CM Punk for a little bit. CM Punk. So was it Monday? Was it Monday or Sunday? I think it was Sunday. Was it Monday? I believe it was Monday. Monday was the 1 year anniversary of when CM Punk returned to the WWE at Survivor Series. And I don't know if you guys got a chance to check it out. WWE put out like a 9-minute YouTube clip or not a clip, but a video of him backstage, before he went out and then afterwards. It's entertaining. It's fun. I was smiling the whole time because it was good to see CM Punk back in the WWE. He looks happy. He looks healthy. Doesn't have to work with fucking children anymore. But yeah, it's a fun video. According to Punk, he said this on O'Shea Jackson Jr.'s podcast that he literally did not sign a contract until he was about to go out. Like that's how fucking insane it was. um. So the video is just him showing up backstage. I was assuming they were gonna do a longer documentary, but according to Punk, he didn't even know he was gonna sign back with the company until like, the week of. Um, so it'd be kind of weird if like cameras show up to Punk's house. He's like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" That'd be funny. Just cameras randomly show up at CM Punk's house. He's like, "What the fuck?" Um, yeah, it was a fun video. Punk shows up in a gorilla. He meets people. He sees people he hadn't seen in years. He sees Triple H. He sees Stephanie. Um, him and Steph. Apparently, there was like some thing going around that him and Stephanie didn't like each other. But he's like, "No, me and Stephanie always got along." I always heard that about Stephanie McMahon is that out of all the McMahons, people like Stephanie the most because she comes off as very sweet and kind and helpful. Um, people think Shane is the nice McMahon. I mean, he seems like a chill guy. He can also probably rub people the wrong way, which makes sense. Triple H, you either like him or you don't, and then Vince just seems universally hated. But the argument for Vince is that he's done good things for wrestling, so whatever. But Vince is gone, so we're not talking about Vince. But yeah, he won out originally. Originally Triple H wanted him to stand between both rings for the War Games match, but he just went up there and just waved at everybody and said hi and left. And comes backstage, hugs Triple H. Triple H is like, I'm happy for you. And then he waits for everybody to come back and greets him. He meets people that he's never met. There's a nice little moment with him and Rhea, where he asks Rhea, "Can I hug you?" And Rhea gives him this big hug. And I know Rhea's like a big CM Punk fan. That's what I remember about her. So her meeting CM Punk, I'm pretty sure that was big for her. He meets Dom. He has a history with Dom and Ray. So it was kind of funny seeing them two meet. He squashed his beef with Corey Graves, which I thought was kind of cool. I thought that was cool. There's a funny bit with Randy Orton where Randy was like, "God damn it! This is my comeback. You couldn't just let me have my night." But they're friends. He was cool about it. He understood. I mean, nobody knew that CM Punk was coming out. And then, of course, him and Bayley embraced, and him and Bayley are best friends. They're best friends through AJ because everyone loves AJ. Even Bayley's asking CM Punk, "Are you going to get her back? And are you going to get her to come back?" And he's like, "I'm trying." But it was cool. It was a cool moment. I think, guys, if you guys haven't watched it, give it a watch. It's only like 9 minutes, 9.5 minutes, give or take. But been a year since he's been back, and now he's going to be competing in the main event at War Games. So how has CM Punk been since he's come back? How has his comeback been? I mean, this is not going to surprise anybody. It's been great. It's been a great comeback. He was in arguably the best feud of the year with Drew McIntyre, which essentially happened on accident. Because the whole push with Punk was going to be with Seth. That was going to be the Mania match. But, obviously what happened at the Rumble happened. Punk hurt his triceps, and Drew, who was already in the transition of being a heel, injured Punk, and it ended up being the best thing that ever happened to him. He ended up being more interesting than he's ever been. And him and Punk are I don't even think it's an argument. They had the best feud of the year. Like, because we're gonna do our year-end awards, and that's gonna come up on what is it, the Friday after Christmas? That unless something else comes up, that's my feud of the year. And the Hell in the Cell match was my match of the year. Like, to me, that was the best Hell in the Cell match I've seen in years. Because it was actually a Hell in the Cell match. It wasn't just a Hell in the Cell. It wasn't just a cage that needed a match. It was a match that needed a cage. And I'm glad gimmick pay-per-views are going away. I mean, some gimmick pay-per-views they have their use. Elimination Chamber, King of the Ring, Extreme Rules, when they actually feel like gimmick pay-per-views and not in the past where it's like we're gonna have 2 Extreme Rules matches and then everything else is gonna be a singles match. Like, no. I'm glad Hell in a Cell isn't a pay-per-view anymore. I'm glad TLC isn't a pay-per-view anymore. Hell in a Cell needs to be the big blow-off match, and I'm glad they're going back to doing that. So, CM Punk's comeback to the WWE has been a success. Anybody else who tells you different is stupid. They're haters. They're WWE fanboys. But let's transition into, and I have my notes. Friday Night SmackDown. Where am I? Okay, Friday Night SmackDown. Last Friday, it was November 22nd in the Delta Center in Salt Lake City, Utah. Overall, pretty good SmackDown from top to bottom. So let's kind of start with the meat and potatoes. So, show opens with a Bloodline 2.0. Solo says, we're ready, but who isn't ready? Roman Reigns. and we're ready for Roman Reigns to concede, basically. So it was kind of a quick open. I probably wouldn't. I probably would have went with maybe not that to open the show. I mean, if you're gonna do that, maybe do like a vignette where they're in the back doing their usual vignette promos where they're just sitting in a dark room, but whatever. And then you cut to the Bloodline with Sammy and the Usos and Roman discussing who their fifth man's gonna be because Seth said no, and then I think was it Jay or Jimmy is like, what about Cody Rhodes? Roman's like, that's old news. We don't need a fifth man. We're good. We're gonna if it's 4 against 5, we're gonna die. We're gonna die. We're gonna die out there. We're gonna go out swinging. They get out there, and Bloodline 2.0 comes out. Then Roman comes out. Solo tells Roman, "I'm not here to fight you. I love you. If the four of you join us, join this bloodline. Jesus Christ, I can't read my writing. We can run this company for decades. Join me, or the four of you will die where you stand." And then Solo, dangles the mic in front of Roman. Roman grabs it. Before Roman can say anything, you hear, "Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman." So Paul Heyman's back. Didn't expect him to come back. Wasn't expecting him to come back on that SmackDown. I was expecting him to come back either at Survivor Series or after Survivor Series, but he came back on SmackDown. Nice to see him. He points out that there's only 4 members of his bloodline and not 5. And this War Games needs a 5th man. So I have your 5th guy right here. He points to the Titantron. I'm assuming okay, can't be Seth, because that would just seem like, okay, we're expecting that. Obviously not Cody, because Cody's has his own dealings. Is it Brock? Be interesting if it was Brock, but no, it's CM Punk. CM Punk's music hits, puts on his tape, goes out there and helps the Bloodline fight. Awesome. Wasn't expecting CM Punk. I was not expecting CM Punk. I like that. I didn't expect it, and they got me. They wrestled me, or they wrestlinged me, is the best way to put it. And then afterwards, CM Punk and Roman have a stare off, which was epic. And then you see Roman mouth the words, "I don't trust you," and Punk goes, "You don't have to. It's not about us; it's about him." And he's pointing to Paul Heyman. So, tomorrow on SmackDown, SmackDown's a tape show. They're gonna have a sit down interview Roman and Punk, and from the way it sounds, I don't think it's gonna be a live interview. It's gonna be like a taped interview, kind of similar to Cody and Roman when they were at the Georgia Dome. But I don't think Punk's gonna be on the Georgia Dome, so they're probably gonna sit in the back and talk. So should be good. I'm gonna watch it for that, but I haven't seen any spoilers for SmackDown. I'm trying to stay away from spoilers nowadays. I used to not care about spoilers in shows. Now I kind of do. I just want to see what's gonna happen on my own. But um, Punk being on team Bloodline, selling Justice. No, I was telling Justin, you know, it makes sense for Punk to be that guy because, again, I'm usually not the Seth hater. I'm usually the Seth apologist, but I'm glad it wasn't Seth. I'm glad it wasn't Brock, mainly because those two, he's already done too much with those two. Like he already has a history with those two, so him and Brock together would just be kind of awkward. Um, him and Seth together, I'm pretty sure we'll cross that bridge once we get to it. That seems like that's a match that they have a boner for to do, like a fucking Mania, main event for, or just a Mania match in general. And like I mentioned, Cody's already doing his own shit. He's already done with Cody, so he doesn't really have a history with Punk. He does and he doesn't, but they haven't really had a straight off, actual feud together. Like I imagine Punk is going to bring up the fact that he allegedly had a hand in creating the Shield, but he wanted to choose Chris Hero and not Roman Reigns, but the company wanted Roman Reigns. So that could be a thing that Punk brings up is I didn't want you in the first place, but you turned out great. Um, and then obviously the history with the connection with him and Paul Heyman. So they did have a match. I don't know if you guys remember. They had a singles match on the January 6th, 2014 episode of Raw. And of course, that was around the time when Punk was already about to leave the company. That was maybe like what, 3 weeks? Right around the time Punk, 3 weeks before Punk left. And then they did have a 3-on-1 handicap match at TLC in 2013, which Punk won. Which that's the infamous story of people telling Punk, don't forget to make Roman look really strong. Which again, I don't see them bringing that comment up, but it'll be funny as fuck if they did. It'll be funny as fuck if Roman's like, you forgot to make me look really strong, or like something along those lines. Like they're obviously going to come up with a better way to do it than I just did. Obviously I'm not a wrestler. I don't play one on TV, so. But I can't wait for the sit down. I obviously can't wait for Survivor Series, which we'll get to Survivor Series. Predictions later, but that was the end of SmackDown. Let's kind of go over the rest of the show. Let's go to another big point. Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes comes out and calls out Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens appears to the crowd and wears a tuxedo shirt, which I thought was funny. I didn't think it took away from the moment. I thought Kevin Owens obviously works better as a heel, but his whole thing is he's such a smartass and just this smarmy, asshole. He's also French Canadian, so he's probably naturally a prick. But any of my French Canadian, people listening to the show, I don't mean that as a disrespect, but Kevin Owens is better as being a prick. But he's also like good at just being this smartass and this asshole of like I'm gonna wear this, you know, this suit and tie T-shirt because fuck it, that's why. And KO tells Cody, "You don't get what you want because you want it." I'm not just going to come to the ring because the almighty Cody Rhodes tells me to. He tells Cody, everything that has happened to you, happened to Randy, is your fault. Because for 4 years, I fought the bloodline. I stood by you, celebrated with you at WrestleMania 40 while you finished your story. Then you teamed with the guy that tried to end my career. So I like continuity. I obviously like this regime of WWE. If this was Vince, he would have made KO forget about that. Like KO would have just been magically okay with that. Since this is Triple H running the show, I like that there's continuity. I like that KO is still staying true to his guns of like fuck Roman Reigns. Same thing with Seth to a degree, where Seth is like fuck Roman Reigns. I'm still mad. I still hate Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns, still hates Seth. And then Cody, gets back at KO and says, "Me teaming with Roman has nothing to do with him being mad, playing you're the victim. Nobody holds Kevin Owens down more than Kevin Owens." And that KO doesn't really hate him, but he hates himself. Says he knows which lengths he's willing to go to, that there's not a line that he won't cross either. And then KO hits him with this, saying that, their match will happen when he says it will. He says, pretty much like I almost ended I broke Randy Orton's career I broke Randy Orton's neck and I loved him. But I hate you. That was good. That was a good fucking promo. It was a good SmackDown in the sense where like it wasn't primarily just bloodline related. Now you have Cody in a feud where it actually seems interesting and it's actually personal. A lot of Cody a big problem with Cody's um I guess run as the champion is he's been putting a lot of just like, I don't say filler matches, but in a lot of matches where it's just like, he's going to win. He's never been in that kind of feud where you kind of worry that he's going to lose. As a Cody Rhodes fan, you worry that he's going to lose. It's like he wrestled AJ twice, and yeah, those are good matches, but you knew AJ wasn't going to win. You know, he wrestled Logan. I thought that was good, but you knew Logan was going to win. And then he was on the Bloodline storyline, and it's just that wasn't really his storyline. You knew Solo wasn't going to win either. This feud with KO, it feels personal, and it makes Cody interesting, and it brings out a fire in Cody that we haven't seen a lot. You know, the problem with Cody. Again, I love Cody, but my problem with Cody is that he doesn't really his demeanor doesn't really change a lot in his promos. Like he can be yelling and he has the same look on his face. Not like Johnny Gargano or anything like that, but like I think he's just he's when he cuts these emotional promos, it just seems like he's acting. And yes, wrestling is acting, but like it legit seems like he's trying to play a role, like in a Hollywood movie. This promo really showed Cody pissed off and has emotion and has affect. And you know, this is the most interesting Kevin Owens has been in a long time. So I look forward to their match. The match isn't going to happen at Survivor Series, which I'm kind of glad because I think this is a feud that needs its own show. Because Survivor Series is already kind of like it's already packed with storylines. You know, you have the Bloodline, you have the women's match. You have what other fuck? Yeah, you have a few other matches which we'll get to, but this feud needs its own. It needs its own, you know, movie, so to speak. It's like the MCU. You know, there's villains and heroes that kind of need their own movie or TV show, for example. This is a feud that needs its own show, and it's going to happen at Saturday night's main event on December the 14th. So, um, look forward to it. Um, I I get the feeling that that KO might win. I don't know. I don't see Triple H giving these really long title reigns to anyone. I don't think Cody's momentum is going to hurt. I don't think it's going to hurt his momentum if he loses because he can easily just win it back. He can win it back at Royal Rumble, and then Randy can come back and they can start their Mania feud. See, there you go. I just booked Mania for you. You're welcome. Hold on, I need to take a drink of water because I've been talking too much. Give me a second. Give me your thoughts in the chat, people. What do you think? Oh man, that's some good water. A big jug of water. But the rest of SmackDown, decent. Really nothing. Uh decent. I'll just say that. I think got good thirst control. Thank you. Um, yeah, the women's United States title tournament. You had Bianca Belair, Chelsea Green, and Blair Davenport. I put in my notes. I forgot Blair Davenport was even on the roster. And I hate to say that because I don't want to see anyone lose their job, but it's like you got to give this girl something. I mean, they gave her something tonight, but it's like you got to give her something. But uh, we cut to like there's a portion of the match where you see Jade Cargill laid out on a car, and the story is that Jade is actually legit hurt. I don't have that in front of me, but apparently she's legit hurt, and they found a way to write her off television. So during the match, Bianca sees that she runs to the back. She's kind of doing a will I won't I type of thing. But she runs to the back anyway. Chelsea takes advantage of the spot, and she ends up pinning Blair Davenport. So now she's advanced in the United States title tournament, which I'm glad because I think for these new women's titles, I'd rather see newer people get opportunities. Like I like Bianca, but Bianca doesn't need to be the U.S. champion. Bianca has already main evented WrestleMania. She doesn't need it. That title's beneath her at that point. Give it to people like Chelsea. And give it to people like Michin, which I judging by the brackets, that's more than likely going to be the finals. Is Michin and Chelsea, and they already have a history together. They just worked a feud. So, um, next is United States Championship: LA Knight versus Santos Escobar. Seen this already. I got sidetracked. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I mean, I'll say my. I'll just give my thoughts already about this. So, LA Knight, I don't think needs a title. I think this title reign has already proven that he doesn't need to be a champion. He can just be an attraction. He's already over on his own. People still chant his theme. They say they wear his merch. They chant, "Yeah, let me talk to you." Um, the problem with him as a champion is that he's a baby face, so you don't really present any interesting like opponents for him. Because they try to do it with Carmelo Hayes, and I like Carmelo Hayes, but Carmelo Hayes is also small. LA Knight should be out there wrecking him. Andrade, I like Andrade, but he's kind of not that interesting. Um, he's a manager mainly, so it's just like, who else do you put in front of him? I like Santos, but Santos is also kind of short. Um, but I'll say my predictions for Saturday. But as you can imagine, LA Knight won. Nakamura came out and attacked him. So there you go. What else? What else? What else? Got more Raw. Bailey and Naomi versus Tiffany Stratton and Candice LeRaw. Match ends in a DQ after Nia interferes, and basically just to set up next week's Survivor Series. You had Montez versus Ciampa. This is fun. This is a fun match. Montez Ford. I I really think they need to break him apart from Angelo. Like the Street Profits thing, I think has run its course. I think it ran its course last year. Montez is ready to be a star. Angelo, they can maybe put him in another tag team or a faction as a heavy, but Montez is a star, and all Angelo is doing is just weighing him down. Montez looks like a star. He's exciting to watch. The people like him. He's charismatic. He's handsome. He's a guy you can put on Good Morning America. He's marketable. It's just he needs to be a star, like right away. They need to end the Street Profits already. I know we're allegedly going to end the New Day next week. They need to add the Street Profits to that shit already. The story allegedly, apparently Bianca said the reason why Montez doesn't want to be a singles guy is that he doesn't want to hurt Angelo's feelings. I don't know if that was an actual quote, but if it's like, dude, this is the fucking wrestling business. Do you want to be a star, or do you just want to be a guy who should have been a star? Like, now's the time, buddy. You're not getting any younger. Let's see. Make friends and make money. Exactly, Scott. Make friends and make money. But that was SmackDown from last week. SmackDown was good. This weekend WWE has actually been pretty good. The last few weeks have been kind of eh. Then get to Monday Night Raw, which was in Glendale, Arizona, at the Desert Diamond Arena. Gunther opens the show. Damien comes out, and we're still doing the Gunther is afraid storyline, which I can see where they're coming from with the storyline. That Gunther's used to winning all the time, but it's like, wouldn't it have made more sense if he lost to somebody that he didn't really take seriously? Like, he lost to fucking Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes is the star of the company. So why are you losing confidence that you lost to the star of the company? Like, you should lose your confidence if you lose to like I don't know, fill in the blank. Oh, think of a name. Um, Damian Priest, for example. Let's say he lost to Damian Priest. He should be losing that confidence. Um, but it's like, I don't know. Like, Damian Priest, I like. I think when Damian Priest is himself in these promos, he's interesting. But eh, when he tries to do the "Yo, I'm a tough guy," "Yo, everybody" promos, it just sounds very manufactured. So, I was recently just I was on the Wrestling Soup chat, and they were talking about Damian Priest, and I made a pretty good observation that Mish actually acknowledged, which was Damian Priest right now is where Drew McIntyre was 5 years ago, where it's like good look, good looking guy, has good matches, but just kind of bland and milk toast. But you can see in him, you can see in him the potential. You can see that there's a guy in there that's waiting to come out and be a big star and be the big star that people think he is. Drew just happened to find his CM Punk, you know, and it was on accident. Damian needs a CM Punk. I mean, can that just be CM Punk, or can it be somebody else that we're not thinking about? But I don't know. Yeah, that's just Damian's problem. Again, good look can work, but he sounds unsure of himself when he talks on the mic. But yeah, this segment ended with Damian hitting Razor's Edge to Gunther on the announcer's table. So there you go. Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee versus the Creeds in a tornado tag team match. Blah 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 blah. The match ends with Chad Gable flipping around Ray's mask. That was kind of funny. And then Julius Schoolboy pins him with him. Yeah, Braun Breaker versus Ludwig Kaiser in a non-title match. This was a fun match. I mean, it ended in DQ, but it was still fun. Uh, Braun doing that spot where he runs around the ring, goes for a spear, but then he fucking wipes out in front of the fucking announcer's table. Like I wouldn't be surprised if you found out Braun maybe busted a rib. That looked like it hurt. That's kind of what worries me about Braun sometimes is when he goes at 100 miles per hour. It's like, dude, take it easy. You're over. You don't need. You're over. You're fine. You got it. Like you finally got it. And you're not even 30 yet. But the match ends in DQ after Sheamus comes out to cause a DQ, and then they brawl, and then Adam Pearce uh, announces that this Saturday is going to be a triple threat for the Intercontinental title. So there you go. World Tag Team Championships: Judgment Day versus War Raiders. Judgment Day, they've been champion for over 100 days, and they've only defended it twice, including this, and it's just like that's really fucking unacceptable. They won, and it's just like, what was the point? What was the point in hyping up War Raiders if they were still gonna lose? So I don't know, whatever. The New Day versus Alpha Academy. Before they made the announcement that next Monday is going to be the 10-year anniversary of New Day, and then you cut to Xavier and Kofi talking to Xavier saying, "You know what, man? Next week is our 10-year. Let's squash it. Let's be bros. Let's just go out there and have fun." They go out there. Kofi starts the match, and then Xavier tags himself in, and then immediately gets pinned by, or not immediately, but he ends up getting pinned by Tozawa. Afterwards, Kofi and Xavier fight, and then you see the camera following them backstage, and they're arguing, and they have one of the best segments of the year. With I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of this seemed like it was off the cuff. This didn't seem like WWE wrote this down. To me, this seemed like WWE was like, "You're going to talk about this, but come up with it on the fly." And I wouldn't be surprised if Xavier and Cody kind of ran this by Kofi, I'm sorry. Ran this by each other because holy shit, there were some lines in there where I'm like, God damn. I'm waiting for Kofi to knock the shit out of Xavier. There was a spot where, Kofi was like, the reason why me and E never let you, run the spot was because you weren't good enough. And, Xavier's like, I never had a title shot. I was glad to help you, be in, do Kofi Mania, but you ended up losing it to Brock Lesnar. And I'm just waiting for one of these two to beat the shit out of each other. Like it was just a good fucking promo. really fucking good, and it makes me really interested to know what's going to happen next week because I know Big E's coming in. Um, if Xavier really wants heel heat, not just beat up Kofi, do something to Big E. Like, do something to him. Like, give him a DDT on the chair. Uh, get on Big E for hurting his neck. And then blaming poor Ridge Holland for it. Like, do that. You have an opportunity to do something special here. Like, I think Xavier has a chance to really get like MJF level heat. After this, I think Xavier maybe could be one of the biggest heels in the company, maybe even in wrestling, because people love Xavier and people love E. And then come WrestleMania, you can do Xavier versus Kofi, or fuck, maybe if Big E is well enough, knock on wood. I'm not knocking on wood, but you can maybe do Xavier versus Big E. So I don't know. Like they have a chance to do something special here, you know. So there you go. Bianca Belair versus Nia Jax. That was the main event to see whose team would have the advantage in War Games, and Bailey comes out to cause the distraction. And now Bailey is the 5th team member in the women's War Games match on the face side. NXT. We'll talk about a little bit about NXT. I want to talk about the main event. The main event was for the Women's North American Championship. You had Tatum Paxley versus Fallon Henley, the champion. This is a fun match. I like both women. I don't think they've ever wrestled together, so this, to my knowledge, this is maybe the first time I've seen them wrestle. Maybe they wrestle on house shows. I don't know, but I thought these two had really good chemistry. The people loved Tatum. The whole crowd was chanting Tatum, Tatum. And Fallon's really good too. I think we've kind of forgotten how good Fallon actually is. She can work. I still don't buy her as a heel. I'm sorry. Like, I know she's been a heel for a while now. I just think she's too likable to be a heel. Like when she's trying to act like a heel, when she's trying to act like a badass and be a bitch, I just don't buy it. To me, it just comes off as she's an actress trying to be a bitch. I just don't buy it. She's too likable. It's like when Mickey James was trying to be a heel. It never worked because she's too likable. Even when she was doing the psycho stalker gimmick, like she was coming off as likable, and she's hot too. No one's gonna boo the hot girl, but I thought this was a fun match. I liked JC getting involved and yelling at Tatum and calling her a freak. Um, but it was a fun match overall. I like the fact that Fallon does the famouser as a finish. I don't remember what her original finisher was. I think it was like a running knee or something, which running knees are not good finishers to me. Those are more of like just setup moves. Like a finisher is a finisher. Like a finisher is a finisher when you see it. A famouser looks more like a finisher. So I like the fact that she's doing that. So good. It looks better for her. I don't even like Jada Parker's finisher, where she literally just runs her at the side of her ass onto her head. I mean, I wouldn't mind. Never mind. I'm not going to say anything to get me in trouble. But she needs to come up with a better finisher, Jada Parker. That's all I'm going to say. But Fallon wins. She retains afterwards. Fatal Influence beats down Tatum, and then Gigi Dolan's music plays. So Gigi Dolan's back. She appears behind what's her name, JC, and then beats her up, and then Tatum joins in. So the show ends with Tatum and Gigi in the ring, which I like that. I like that pair, and I'm gonna say why. They're gonna add women's tag team titles in NXT. I can almost guarantee that. They already added, the United States Championship on SmackDown. They already added the Intercontinental Championship on Raw, and then Shawn Michaels is gonna like counteract that with, oh yeah, well I'm gonna add the WWE Women's Tag Team or NXT Women's Tag Team Championship. I'm sorry, that was a bad impression. My voice also hurts. I think I'm coming down with something. Um, when you look at the NXT women's roster, that is a stacked pool. Like they have a lot of women on that roster. I mean, you just brought in the North American Championship, and then obviously there's the Women's Championship, and it's just like, what else do you do with the other women on the show? You add tag team championships. So I like Gigi Dolan and Tatum together. I was almost like this, they're similar, but they're also odd, couple. Tatum is supposed to be the freaky, and Gigi is, crazy, but she can be like, you're weird, you're weirder than me, but I like you. Let's be friends. Um, and they're both smoking hot, by the way. Just gotta point that out. But um, again, glad to see Gigi back. I think Gigi works better in a tag team personally. When they tried to make her a single star, just it didn't work. Uh, she was much better with JC. I was liking what they were doing with her and Ariana Grace. I was liking that, but then Gigi got hurt. By the way, where is Ariana Grace? Where has she been? Did she get hurt? Because all I do is just see her on Instagram. That's literally all I see her do is on Instagram posting pictures with Shannon Stacks Lorenzo. So did she get hurt or what's she up to? Someone please tell me in the chat. But the rest of NXT was pretty good. Iron Survivor Challenge qualifier. He had Ethan Page and Axiom. I thought this was a really good match. I thought this was a really good TV match. I haven't really seen Axiom have a singles match in a while. Ethan Page obviously knows how to work, so it was one of those things of like two different styles, but they were able to make it work. Good back and forth action. I like Page working more aggressively, and then Axiom goes for the golden ratio. Page clotheslines him for the pin, or for the pin in the win. I'm sorry. Afterwards, Page tries to be the shit stirrer, says that Axiom is the one carrying the team. Nathan Frazier, says Axiom's not the one carrying the team, and then he kind of stops like mid sentence, like, oh shit, to kind of continue that dissension between both guys. Wesley comes out with a new haircut, so he no longer has cornrows. The whole crowd is chanting, "Who are you?" Um, and I forget his name. I keep wanting to call him by his indie name, which was Blade Malachi, but that's not it. Javon Evans. There you go. Javon Evans comes out, and then OTM comes out, and then the other tag teams come out, and they have a brawl. Blah. Later in the night, another brawl happened. Ava announced that there's going to be a last chance match with anyone that lost in the qualifiers to get the final spot in either the men's or women's qualifying match. So Eddie Thorpe, Axiom, Brian Pillman Jr. or Lexus King, and who's the other guy? I'm blanking on the name. And then, of course, for the women. So afterwards, there's a brawl that breaks out. Ava gets kind of gets involved in the crossfires. She's in the trainer's room. Eddie Thorpe comes in, still continuing his gradual heel turn of getting blown off. He wants to talk to Ava. Shawn gets pissed off. Shawn Michaels gets pissed off on him, shoves him, and then shoves him against the wall. So Eddie Thorpe's heel turn, I think, is going to be good. I like Eddie Thorpe. I think him being an angry, pissed off heel could do wonders for him, and it can make him. It could probably get him on a higher spot in the card, because this men's division and the men's main event scene in NXT is really weak. Like they need bigger stars, and I like Trick, but Trick needs better opponents. I'm just gonna say it. He needs better opponents. Ridge, I hate to rag on the guy. I know the guy's shown improvement, but I don't want to see Ridge and Trick Williams. Like I don't think anyone wants to see that match. Next is you had Ren Sinclair versus Lola Vice after Ren Sinclair, pissed off Lola Vice, and Lola Vice wanted a match because that's how wrestling works. Decent match. Ren. She's from RCW, River City Wrestling, so we kind of we claim her here. It was a decent match. It was kind of interesting seeing them two work together because Ren can work. Lola is still getting there. They like Lola. Uh, Again, I don't want to be a pig, but I'm just pointing out facts. Lola's hot. They love Lola. She shakes her ass. She gets over with the fans. She sells merch. They like her there. I'm just pointing out facts, people. You'd be remiss to not point that out. It's just facts. I thought Ren gave her a good match. She was kind of making her work for it a little bit. In the end, Lola ended up winning, and then afterwards she gets on the mic and challenges Jada to an NXT Battleground match or Underground match. I'm sorry. So I'm assuming that's what's going to be on the card next Saturday for Deadline. Oh man! All right. Men's North American title match: Tony D'Angelo versus Shawn Spears. I thought the storyline going into this was interesting. That Tony D'Angelo was working with a hurt knee. For a second I'm like, are they really going to give it to Shawn Spears? But no, they didn't. Tony D'Angelo won. So cool. And then Iron Survivor Challenge match. You had Kalani Jordan versus Julia. Um, you know, much respect to Kalani, for being able to keep up with Julia. I That was kind of my worry with a lot of these women, like Stephanie and Julia, where it's like, they're more of the veterans, quote unquote. They're established stars, so they're gonna have to slow it down a little bit for a lot of these women on the roster. Doesn't really seem the case. Kalani can work. There's no doubt that she can work, and she really did have to work against Julia. Um, I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. It kind of seems like they're going for a Kalani heel turn. Like, don't you think? Because she lost her North American title. She obviously wasn't happy about that, and then she wanted to earn her spot in this Iron Survivor Challenge, and then loses to Julia, and then wants to shake her hand, and Julia kind of reluctantly shakes her hand, but kind of shakes it like like she's a nobody. So it makes sense for Kalani to be a heel because I said this before, I'm saying again. Um, she needs a personality change, and but a heel turn that makes sense for her because it worked for Roxanne to do the Drew McIntyre shtick of I'm mad at the fans, so I'm going to be a heel. For Kalani, I don't think that will make sense. I think it would just sound like it's being forced. I think for Kalani, you know, it makes sense for her because she can even bring Carmelo into the argument of like, my man told me to know my worth. So that could be a thing. But that was NXT. That was NXT. Let's do what are we doing next? We can just cut out the 30 for 30 thing. Let's do TV ratings and let's do Survivor Series predictions, and then we're gonna call it a night. Actually, you know what? Fuck TV ratings. I don't care about TV ratings. Let's do Survivor Series predictions, and let me read some questions, and then I'm gonna call it a night. What do you say? So Survivor Series is gonna be this Saturday. It will be at the Rogers Arena in Vancouver, British Columbia. Before I read, I'm gonna take a swig. Ah, man. A lot of talking. All right, so Survivor Series. So far, there are 5 matches, which that's the way it should be. Shinsuke Nakamura versus LA Knight for the WWE United States Championship. I'm gonna say Shinsuke because if Shinsuke loses after he's been out for God knows how long, then what was the point of this match? So I think Shinsuke would be a better choice as the United States champion right now than LA Knight. Like LA Knight doesn't need a title. I think you can present better matchups and opportunities for Shinsuke as the champion. So I'm going to say Shinsuke wins. Braun Breaker versus Sheamus versus Ludwig Kaiser for the Intercontinental Championship triple threat. Um, this could be the match of the night. This could be the match of the night. I mean, it's kind of a mixed bag. You have two meatheads, and then you have one skinny, you know, wrestler guy. Yeah, basically Alex Wright, Das Wonderkind. Anyone remembers that guy? But this could be a very good match. I could see, I could see Ludwig kind of maybe being the breakout of the match. I can see them giving Ludwig a lot of offense in this match. Not going to win, obviously, but I can see him getting a lot of offense in and being the standout. And more than likely, I can see him eating the pin as well. Um, Sheamus is Sheamus. You know, again, it's been pointed out that at the age of 40, Sheamus finally got it. But this should be a fun match, and Braun's gonna get the win. World Heavyweight Championship match: Gunther versus Damian Priest. Gunther's gonna win. The story going in is Gunther's afraid because he lost to Cody and blah blah blah, and he's afraid of Damian, blah blah blah. So I have a feeling he's maybe gonna win with some dastardly tactics. Like maybe, Ludwig comes in and tries to distract Damian, and Gunther hits Damian with a steel chair. I don't know. Like I know I presented the idea of not Damian, Gunther working more like a heel, but the I always get people telling me that, well, that's just gonna make Gunther like every other heel. It's like, well, you need to do something with Gunther in this match because him being afraid of Damian just doesn't make any sense. And again, I like Damian, but Damian ain't that guy. He's not that guy. Like he's a perfect mid card, and there's no shame in it. There really is no shame in it. Let's see. Women's War Games match: Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Naomi, Io Sky, and Bayley versus Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton, and Candice LeRae. I'm gonna say the baby faces. More than likely, Io is gonna do some crazy shit. She's gonna do a big spot off the top of the cage. Um, it'd be kind of funny if Tiffany tries to cash in during the fucking match. Um, she might do some crazy shit too, like maybe some spots because she likes doing those spots. Um, Rhea, I think I don't know, like I'm honestly surprised Rhea came back this quick because she's wearing that mask. Like, how much offense is she gonna get in? Because I know she likes to do a lot of those headbutts. Um, Liv, I can maybe see doing something crazy, but in the end, I think it's gonna be the faces. And what more than likely is gonna be the main event, the men's War Games match: Roman Reigns, the Usos, Sami Zayn, and CM Punk with Paul Heyman versus the Bloodline, Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Bronson Reed. The faces, well, hmm. I just thought of something. Like, you have two War Games matches. One of the faces needs to lose. So I don't see the new Bloodline winning. But it's just like you're gonna have two babyface teams win. Like like the heels need to win somehow. But huh, I don't know. I don't know. I can't see CM Punk joining this new or not joining the Bloodline, but helping them out and then losing, unless something big happens. But for the time being, I'm gonna say Team Roman's gonna win. Will The Rock come out? Will Paul Heyman do something dastardly that we're not expecting? I don't know. Because CM Punk came back last year. Who's to say The Rock can't come out this year? So we'll see. But that's Survivor Series, people. Let me see if there's any questions in the questions tab. I can read them off, and then we can call it a night. All right. How far back are these questions? Guys, just a reminder, please keep the questions tab primarily for questions. You have any conversations? Put in the chat. That's all I'm gonna say. Uh, I don't even know how far these questions go back because we stopped doing Q&A shows. Um, I think Kyle's question is the most recent. Okay, I'm gonna start with Kyle because Kyle seems like the one that's more recent. Uh, sorry about that. Kyle K. He's not here. What are some of the biggest what if scenarios in your life? For me, I have three of them. What if my dad Joe didn't die in 2005? I didn't know that, Kyle. I'm sorry. At age 48, when I was 11. What if I had played sports in middle and high school? What if I had went to a 4-year university instead of a technical college? That's an interesting question. I mean, I definitely have some what ifs. What if I joined the Air Force after high school? What if I applied myself more in high school? I didn't goof around. Um, what if I made friends with the right people? Like that was always that's always kind of that's always one of those things that lingers in the back of my head. But to me, it's always interesting to think about what ifs and being able to set the reset button on life. But at the end of the day, I can't. I don't live my life by what ifs because if you just keep living life by what ifs, then you're not going to grow. You're just going to be stuck in the past, and I don't want to be stuck in the past. That's just me. Again, don't want to. Not trying to talk down to you, Kyle. Because there are some good what ifs, but like as far as like me goes, I try to just move forward because as cliche as it sounds, life happens for a reason. Things happen for a reason. But growing up, what were you? This is still Kyle, by the way. Grow up. What were your favorite? Oh, Jesus Christ, I can't talk. What were your favorite cereal mascots? For me, example, Tony the Tiger and Toucan Sam. Tony the Tiger. He was always cool. The Honey Nut Cheerios B was kind of cool. Um, yeah, that's about it. Still Kyle. Do you think whenever the time comes for Daniel Bryan to return to WWE, finish his career, his return to WWE will be similar to Kurt Angle's in 2017, 2019? And who would you like to see induct Daniel Bryan to the Hall of Fame? I think it'll probably be better than Kurt Angle's because Kurt was kind of broken down at that point, and he had to put over fucking Baron Corbin. Um, yeah, I think his run will be better. As far as who inducts him, it's either going to be William Regal or Shawn Michaels, or both. Who knows? But thank you, Kyle. CM Goof asked some questions. Will Diddy Kong now have to change his name as a result of Diddy Combs' alleged sexual crimes and subsequent trial? Won't someone please think of Diddy Kong? I mean, that makes sense. I don't think you want to be called Diddy anything. Which one of you is buying Sarah8243 as a hippopotamus for Christmas? Oh, it's Anna, by the way. Sure. Your personal top 5 best candy bars you ever gotten on Halloween when trick-or-treating or to get on Halloween while trick-or-treating. I don't know. I stopped trick-or-treating like a long time ago. I was never a trick-or-treating type of kid. Um, if we want to just talk about best or top 5 candies I just like in general. Not in any order. Reese's peanut butter cups, namely the like the actual peanut butter cups, the one like the smaller ones. I like those the best in the gold packaging. Um, Milky Way, Snickers, Twix, uh, Starburst, red flavor. Those are my favorites. Why did Brutus the Barber Beefcake always carry gardening shears with him? Whose fucking hair was the cutting with those things, Bigfoot or Chewbacca? I'm gonna say yes. Who do you think is winning the men and women's rumbles this year and why? Um, Good question. That's tough because usually the main event of Mania is almost like predicted. This year, I'm not even sure what the main event of Mania is going to be. I mean, I already have a feeling. I mean, it's pretty much going to be Punk and Seth. Whether it's going to be for a title or not, I don't really think it needs to be for a title. Um, I also don't think Punk would really care if it's for a title. But who wins the Rumble? The men's. Hmm, I'm stumped. You know, I'm gonna say Braun Breaker. Fuck it, Braun Breaker wins the men's. The women's, um, it's in Indianapolis. The women's, Bailey won it last year, and Becky already won it. Rhea already won it. I don't know. I really don't have an answer for that, to be honest. I barely chose Braun Breaker. I don't know. I can't really think of anyone who really has that kind of momentum right now. Even the women. So I'm gonna have to come back to that question, Goof, because I really don't. I can't really see anyone that has that kind of momentum. Um, yeah. Why do so many people get ass hurt at the mere mention of Sasha Banks and Mercedes Moné? I don't know about ass hurt because I don't get ass hurt. I just don't think she's good. It's like John Mox. She's the female John Moxley. I don't get the appeal of her. I really don't. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 not being at all and 10 being very obvious, how much does Dominic Mysterio look like he smells like pee or knows how to cook some decent crystal meth? Um, I'll say 8. Thank you, Goof. Anna has some questions. Where would you guys rank Drew and Punk's Hell in a Cell in Hell in a Cell history? Ooh. Oh man, top 10. To me, it's a top 10. I don't know where I would place it. I would need to. I mean, the first Hell in a Cell match is a classic. Shawn and Taker. Um, I don't know, man. I'm really gonna have to look at a lot of the matches and compare. Uh, did you both watch and hear Rikishi's rant on Vince Russo? I did. Um, the only time I'm agreeing with Rikishi, fuck Vince Russo. Is the Hamburglar the son of the Repo Man? Yes. Between Shelton Benjamin's mama, Buff Bagwell's mama, and Rhea Ripley, who is the real mommy? I mean, Rhea Ripley. That's kind of obvious. Is CM Goof Bastion Booger reincarnated? I don't know. You have to ask him. What would be your Hell in a Cell dream match? Ooh. Oh man. Hell in a Cell dream match. Uh, mm, hmm. Prime Stone Cold versus Prime Undertaker. That would have been up. That would have been money right there. Or Prime. I mean, if Samoa Joe ever comes back to the company, which I think he will, I know WWE has a boner to do fucking Punk and Joe and WWE, so that could be a Hell in a Cell match. Uh, oh, and I also forgot to read can include any wrestlers living or dead, tag teams, faction, women, and yes, blood is allowed. But yeah, that's my those are my choices. I'm done with the meeting and Jey Uso getting annoying and tiresome. What say you? I think you meant to say Yeeting. I mean, it's not for me. The Jey Uso thing, he's over, but he's over with kids. So I mean, it's not for me. I just look at it like that. Top 5 Doritos flavors. Ooh, okay. Um, I need to look up because the only one I can think of is all right, Doritos flavors. Okay. Doritos. Okay. Nacho cheese, Cool Ranch, sweet and tangy barbecue is pretty good. Flamin' hot Cool Ranch and Flamin' hot nacho. Those are my choices. Top five Gatorade flavors. Ooh, okay. Lemon cucumber is my favorite. Grape, um, lime is right up there. Um, God damn it! Now I need to look up Gatorade flavors because those are the only three I like. Let's see. Let's see here, by the way. Cool Blue's okay, and Orange is okay, but Cucumber Lime is my favorite. Fuck, Mary Kill, Bailey, Tiffany Stratton, or Will and Nightingale. Mary Bailey. Uh, f- mm, Mary Bailey, fuck Tiffany, kill Will. If Scott Hall Razor Ramon had gotten the help he needed much earlier and stay off the drugs and booze, could he have been the GOAT? I don't know, maybe. Maybe. Um, he definitely would have been higher on the card and maybe more trusted, but I don't know, maybe. Um, are there any questions? That is all the questions, people. So thank you to anyone that did submit a question. Um, Again, I know we don't do these Q&As as much anymore, if any, but questions are always welcome. We will read them when we have the time. So just submit them. But that is the show, people. I think I did close to 2 hours, just me talking. But thank you to anyone that did show up. We will not be doing a post show this Saturday for Survivor Series. We're just going to save our predictions for next week. We should be doing a post show for NXT for the deadline pay per view. If it's not Justin, it'll be me and Jeff Lemon, hopefully. But thank you, Scott. Thank you, Maurice. Thank you, Ife is good, and thank you to anybody that did show up. But uh, shout out to everybody. Shout out to people who are friends of ours who supports the show, and go to Twitter X for DY Experience, and Spawnbuster Tees. If you live in the San Antonio area, you can go to the Wonderland Mall of America to the Spawnbuster Tees store, and you can get a lot of good shit. I just bought an Undertaker shirt. I don't know if you guys saw it. I posted it. You can get that. You can get bobbleheads. You can get action figures. You can get collectibles. Everything you need. So Spawnbuster Tees at spawnbustertees.com. If you don't live in San Antonio, you can still order online. And then the shows you can find on YouTube. I'm not live on YouTube right now. I decided to just record on here. I'll just put the audio portion later. Um, and yeah, just support our friends. Support our friends, and that's about it. Uh, I hope you guys have a good Thanksgiving. I hope you guys uh, stay safe. Um, like, what are you thankful for? I'm thankful for being around for another. I'm thankful that I get to wake up and be with a wonderful woman, and knowing that I have good friends that love me and support me, will be there to catch me no matter. I'm thankful for that. Um, but I'm thankful for you guys, of course. So, but anyways, have a good Thanksgiving. Have a safe Thanksgiving. Be safe, whether you're spending it with family, friends, or by yourself, or working, which I don't get why companies stay open on Thanksgiving. But anyway, but have fun, people. We will see you next week. Same time, same channel. So peace out. Oh, it sucks, Scott, but try to have a good day. But anyways, guys, take care and peace out.